Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is John Phillips, co-founder of PredictIt, the stock market for politics. And for this week, we're going to take a look at what traders are pricing in for the Georgia Senate and gubernatorial elections. John, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Hello, Jill. How are you?
Doing great. And there is no shortage of drama or politics for us to discuss. This time, we're focusing on Georgia.
That's right. I mean, these poor Georgia voters and pundits. I mean, it never ends. So yes, we're actually getting into the weeds this week on Georgia elections, and particularly how this is morphed into a referendum on voting rights or voting responsibility, depending on which side of the argument you are. And boy, there's a lot going on, and it's affecting the odds making on the 2022 Georgia Senate race, as you said. There's a election for the U.S. Senate, and then also for even Secretary of State, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, so let's start from the top and go to the Senate elections, talk about what it looks like for Republicans, for Democrats, who's in, who's not.
Right. So what's interesting is that the market thinks that the Democrats are going to win that Senate race, but it's not by, there's not a landslide here. The odds are that Democrats by 53 to 47% odds over the Republicans will win that U.S. Senate race. Also of interest is a gubernatorial race where the incumbent, Kemp, is leading by 55% odds over Jones at 20% odds, his state rep opponent for governor of Georgia in 2022. Then you've got the Secretary of State. You got Raffensperger, who shot to fame on cable news because of his role in the recount and the recount of the recount. He's the incumbent Secretary of State, and he's at only 12% odds. He's getting iced by Jody Hice, who is a state rep. She's very popular, and she's at Hice at 68% odds to 12% odds for Raffensperger, the incumbent.
John, it's so interesting when you look at the picture more holistically, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, you're kind of seeing this trend in a number of areas of the country where it seems like everything's becoming more purple, nothing really definitively red or blue. We're starting to see this in Texas and a couple of other areas, but Georgia seems like the same issue there as well, where it's literally like down the middle.
Yeah, it's so interesting because those of us who've been in these campaigns and in politics for decades, I'm embarrassed to say, never really considered Georgia to be a Democratic state. And of course, look at what happened in the early days of 2021, when the loss of the 2 Republican Senate seats to Democrats in the runoff, it tipped the balance of power in the United States Senate. So it's really, there are purple states that used to be red states or blue states. And it's just so interesting how divided it is now.
Well, let's take a page out of the sociology book, right? You have a lot of people who are typically more blue in the cities that are moving to other parts of the country because now we understand how to work virtually, and they don't want to spend so much money to live in the city when they can live in more affordable areas and telecommute. This trend could continue to play out, not just specific to what we saw in 2020 and what's happening right now, could potentially be a longer term trend if you want to think about it from a demographic perspective.
That's right. I mean, it's a look at just California and where those Californians are going. It used to be that we thought we were spotting a super interesting trend years ago when it looked like there were a lot of Californians that were moving to Nevada to avoid taxes. That was not an aberration. That was just the front of the tsunami in demographic changes. At the same time, the red states had become more red, and then that's changed as urbanization and other types of demographic ebbs and flows have taken place. So, the electoral map is going to be fascinating for 2024. But look, right now we're looking at what's happening with the 2022 elections.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to follow, John. As always, great conversation. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.